Let's get to our first story coming to us from KSHB in Kansas City, Missouri. Police arrest a pregnant woman.
It's a video now going viral showing Kansas City police officers arresting a woman in purple.
You need to get back, you're going to jail.
In the video, you can see she is on her stomach as police try and handcuff her. One officer's knee appears to be on her back.
Why was it necessary to handcuff and to put a knee on a pregnant woman's back when she is 9 months pregnant?
Kansas City Attorney Stacey Shaw and others showed up to police headquarters to protest. They are demanding justice and for Police Chief Rick Smith's resignation.
We certainly understand the emotion of these situations.
Police say they responded to 35th and Prospect Wednesday night after receiving a call about people fighting. When they tried to arrest a man, police say the pregnant woman started interfering, and that's when officers tried to detain her.
She continued to physically resist, at which point she was placed on the ground to effect the arrest. She was handcuffed, turned to her side, and immediately placed in a seated position.
41 Action News reviewed KCPD's policies and procedures and found no specific policy for addressing the detainment or arrest of a pregnant woman. The department's policy does say force may be used only to the extent objectively reasonable to accomplish lawful outcomes.
We spoke with the officer. He advised, and I think that the video shows his weight was on his foot, that he was taking care. He understood this. He took as much care as he could to put the person in custody without causing any more damage than he had to.
But Shaw and others are questioning if this is necessary.
There is a complete lack of accountability, a complete lack of humanity when it comes to keeping citizens safe.
All right, so our question tonight is, was this justified? If people are outraged, police are defending their actions. I'll begin with you, Lieutenant Colonel Adam Lee III. What do you think?
You know, there's always room for conjecture when you see situations like this because you usually don't see the whole entire picture. But, you know, police, you know, they can't be too careful. And I'll be the first to say, will admit when a police officer is wrong, when I think a police officer is wrong. I did 11 years in internal affairs, which is about a third of my career. And as far as I can see it, the police handled that situation based on the amount of resistance they were given by that individual. Unfortunately, she was pregnant, but you know, you got a situation where if you're too careful and you use too many kid gloves, so to speak, you can get an officer hurt. You know, a pregnant woman can still kill you.
I would say that while the video itself, it doesn't look good, and I'll be the first to admit that doesn't look good. But what you don't see is what happened prior to her getting on the ground. Listen, I would like to think, and I think the lieutenant colonel would agree. I'd like to think that the officer, that was his last resort, putting her in that position, and he tried de-escalation. But sometimes things, they develop the way they develop, and I agree with the lieutenant colonel in such that you take it as it comes, and you can't use too much safety. You know, you have to think about your safety and the safety of the person. And then you try to use kid gloves. Sometimes the officer can end up getting hurt or someone else can end up getting hurt. So I agree that it doesn't look good, but I think we need to always step back a second and try to understand what happened that we don't know, what happened that we didn't see. And I think those types of gaps in the video might fill in some answers that we don't already know.
Yeah, which is one of the reasons we showed the initial video coming into the segment. That was released to the public, and that one shows a little bit of what happened beforehand. But again, there is that gap, and it seems in all these cases there's always a gap.